Well, as much as you try to insulate yourselves from external factors, does it feel like a collective weight has been lifted off to a degree after like this now?
Yeah, look, we're certainly rapt to have our first finals win for the best part of a decade. So the boys were pleased, but you really do have to measure that with the fact that we've got a huge challenge this week, and we need to get back on the horse against West Coast.
I know it's only early, it's only Monday afternoon, but can it work in your favour? Do you think if there was, and a couple of the boys mentioned there might have been a bit of added pressure yesterday, that it can free them to a degree to play freely on Saturday?
Oh, look, potentially. We've still got a pretty young group that hasn't played a lot of finals football, so there's no doubt that as a collective we'll get a lot of confidence out of how we played on Sunday, and as I said, hopefully take that into next week's game.
For you, returning back to the West, how exciting is that? What kind of reception do you think you'll get?
Look, I haven't put too much thought into it, but it looks super exciting for us. It'll be a huge game. They've obviously been one of the form sides all year, so to go over there and take them on their home turf will be a huge challenge for us.
And how do you rate the Eagles going into the match?
Really good. They've they've had a lot of players that are in career best form, and obviously with their tools all the way across the field, they can really stretch sides. So I think they've been, as a collective, they've had a great season, and we're looking forward to matching up against them.
You'd be hoping your mate Coxie doesn't quite get up, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I wouldn't be too upset if he missed. But look, he's another one of their senior players who's had a great season, and I'm sure, knowing Dean as I do, I'm sure he'll get up for the clash.
And Cruz, you expecting him straight back in?
Yeah, look, he'll be in the mix. He'll not completely all over what's going on with him, but look, he'll be given every opportunity this week to prove his fitness and press for selection.
What about Gibbsy? It might be the same sort of thing with Bryce's shoulder. Have you got any indications to what's happening?
Yeah, look, I haven't got a huge idea of just how serious it is, but needless to say, he'll be doing everything within his power to get up for the game.
Brock McLean, best for the Ants, and Hampson kicks 6. Could you foresee making any changes just on form?
Look, it's sort of a hard one, having not sat down and sort of analysed the game, but I would have thought we had a pretty even group of contributors yesterday in the ones, but it may not be for form reasons. It may just be for matchups or team balance. I'm sure the coaches will work out what we need to take in to give us the best opportunity to winning. And at this time of year, it's, I guess, a good thing if there's blokes who are unlucky. We've been in situations before where sort of anyone who's in any sort of form and who's fit is in the side. So it's good to be in this time of the year and have blokes playing well who aren't in the ones.
You lost most of in key areas in round 14 against the Eagles. And I think you had to feel yourself. Was it just the tools you think that really got you that day, or were there other issues you need to sort of address heading into the game?
Yeah, that was a disappointing game by us. I think we got cleaned up in sort of clearances and, as you said, pretty much all the key performance indicators. So that was disappointing, but we think we'll be able to learn from that and change a few things up and obviously perform a bit better this time around.
Think you'll get Scott Selwood again?
Probably, yeah.
You can just turn the tables on him because he probably did get better on him last time.
Look, I guess this time of year it's really not about sort of individual battles. The challenge for us is to go over there and try and get our second finals win. So, the way Murph played yesterday, he might end up with Scott Selwood. So we'll just wait and see. But certainly the midfield battle as a whole will be pretty important to who gets the victory this week.
If Cruz doesn't come up, how much of a detrimental effect is that going to be with Cox and Nick now? How would you try and counter it?
Yeah, look, I mean, there's no doubt that those two guys are dominant forces in the competition. But I think we saw yesterday with Robbie Warnock, his work in the ruck. I thought it was probably the best game he's had for the footy club. So, him combined with Satanta and obviously Sean Hampson's had a good day yesterday. And you throw Cruz in the mix, I think we've got some pretty talented tools that will be looking forward to taking up to the West Coast mob.
I know you said it's not an individual case, which it isn't, but how would you assess your own form just over the last month?
I think it's been okay. Yeah, it's probably the last 3 games have been average to quiet. But as I said, as a whole, we were just wrapped with the victory yesterday and probably not spending a whole heap of time, on that sort of thing.
Right, we can look into things too much quite often, but Roosie was saying maybe Paul Roos and maybe Fatherwood might be just a bit tired from
No, I'm not looking to pass the buck onto Oscar.
Is Jared Waite losing the battle for fitness?
Yeah, it was certainly not getting any easier the more matches he misses. So he's another one. You just got to prepare as well as he possibly can and wait and see.
Just on the pressure of West Coast that you have personal experience of, the build-up for the home side there and the expectation that they'll be favoured and expected to win and all that kind of thing. You guys have come through and won the final that you were expected to win. Is there anything you can capitalise on there on the huge pressure there's going to be on West Coast?
Look, not really. I got asked this question about being under pressure last week, and it sort of bemuses me a little bit. I think it really depends what motivates you. If you're motivated to avoid getting criticism in the press, then certainly the favourite's under more pressure. But if you're motivated to be a successful footy side, then both sides are under the exact same pressure, because whoever loses is knocked out and whoever wins their season stays alive. So I think both sides are motivated by the latter and hence under the same amount of pressure.
Are you surprised by how they've turned it around from last year?
No, not really. I thought they'd be a lot better than they were last year, and obviously they've had some key players who haven't had a lot of footy in the last couple of years. But for them to finish top four, I thought that would be at the upper end of where they've finished, and they've certainly had a really strong season.
Have you found teams have changed their tactics on yourself, like around stoppages, or they're sort of running two guys off you? It's hard to get blocked a lot more. Last month, was it Hawthorn and the Dogs did you?
Yeah, probably Hawthorn and St Kilda did it a little bit. It didn't happen so much yesterday, but it's sort of something that's been happening every now and then.
Is it harder to deal with?
Look, it can be. Yeah. I mean, it also can potentially give you that +1 in your defence if a half forward's coming up and putting some extra work in. So it might cost you a little bit of the stoppage, but it might help your sort of defence and your counter attack. So that's it's something that sides way up.
Just quickly, Brett Thornton, his game yesterday, I mean, he could have easily been, he could have been nowhere, he could have been anywhere. It didn't look like he was going to be here even. Just his going forward and his influence as a full.
He was great, wasn't he? Yeah, he was terrific. And last time we played at Subi Oval against Fremantle, he had a really good game as well. So hopefully, he can continue that form and just give us that option that we've been crying out for up there. I thought his contested marking and even at times when he didn't mark the ball but halve the contest, I thought was invaluable for us.
And you describe this as the toughest challenge in football, playing West Coast at home?
Yeah, I think so. Right up there. They're, as I said, a top four side, and it's on their home soil. So there's not too many tougher challenges in AFL footy.
Chris, the coach's contract situation obviously been a big talking point, and that win would seem to have, I guess, put that to bed. I mean, can you give an insight to how he's sort of handled all that all the way through? It's
just been business as usual for Rats. He sort of made it clear in the press conference I did with him last week that he didn't want last week to be about his contract. It was about this footy club and our fans and them getting the opportunity to see us play a final in Melbourne. And he's been no different with the players. It's really all been about preparing for Essendon and now it'll be about preparing for West Coast.